All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are getting straight into a really critical health threat, one that's often totally invisible. We're talking about visceral fat. It's this hidden danger that honestly needs a modern strategy. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Build your battle plan to take it on. So let me start with a question for you. What if the fat that's most dangerous for your health isn't the stuff you can pinch on your belly, but the fat that's hidden deep inside your body? Well, that's the invisible enemy we're here to talk about today. So here's our game plan. We've got it broken down into 4 key missions. First, we're going to identify the enemy. Then, we'll look at the modern arsenal of tools we have now. After that, we'll dive into your personal lifestyle attack plan. And finally, we'll cover how to track your progress to make sure you're winning. Okay, first up, let's get to know this enemy, right? Because before you can fight something, you have to understand exactly what visceral fat is, and more importantly, why it's such a major threat to our metabolic health. Let's get really specific here. We're talking about something called visceral adipose tissue, or VAT for short. Now, this is not the fat just under your skin, the stuff you can pinch. That's called subcutaneous fat. That is completely different. It's the really dangerous stuff that actually wraps around your vital organs, like your liver and intestines. And that phrase, metabolically active, that is so key. It means this fat isn't just sitting there. It's actively pumping out chemicals and hormones that can seriously mess with your body's systems. And that activity has some pretty severe consequences. Having too much VAT is directly linked to a whole cascade of serious health problems. We're talking about things like insulin resistance, which can lead to type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, sleep apnea, and even certain types of cancer. So you can see the stakes here are incredibly high. But here is the good news. It is not all doom and gloom. Our approach to fighting this internal enemy has really evolved. We are in a completely new era of metabolic health, and we have a powerful, modern arsenal to work with. This really represents a huge shift in thinking. The old way of doing things was just being obsessed with the number on the scale. The new, integrated approach, it focuses on what actually matters, getting rid of that dangerous visceral fat while holding on to precious muscle. We're moving away from just managing symptoms and instead targeting the root causes, combining lifestyle changes with powerful new tools like targeted medications, often through specialized GLP-1 clinics. It's a much smarter strategy. And that brings us to the real core of this explainer, your personal battle plan. This is where you get to take control with a really powerful 2-pronged attack that's all about diet and movement. So let's start with your diet tactics. These are so simple, but they're incredibly effective. First, a little psychological trick. Just use smaller plates. It automatically helps you control your portions. Second, try to build your meals using the Harvard plate model. That's half your plate with veggies, a quarter with lean protein, and a quarter with whole grains. And please, don't be afraid of healthy fats from things like avocados, olive oil, or fish. They help you feel full. And finally, and this is so important, prioritize protein. It's absolutely crucial for building and maintaining that metabolically active muscle we talked about. And this brings us to a huge myth we really need to bust. For decades, we were all told that fat was the bad guy, but all the modern evidence points to a completely different villain. The real culprits driving a lot of these health issues are refined carbs and sugars, especially the kind you find in processed foods. And you can really back up your defenses with 2 more critical habits. First, stay hydrated. Seriously, drink plenty of water. It supports your metabolism and helps you feel full. Second, be really mindful of your alcohol intake. It's just packed with empty calories and can easily throw a wrench in all your hard work. Now for that second prong of the attack, movement and muscle. It's not just about getting your heart rate up with cardio. A baseline of, say, 10,000 steps a day is fantastic. But the real secret weapon here is resistance training, 2 to 3 times a week. Why? Because muscle is your metabolic engine. The more muscle mass you have, the more calories you burn all day long, even when you're resting. It is one of the single most effective ways to torch that visceral fat. Okay, so you've got your attack plan. But every good general knows you need solid intel to actually win the war. This final section is all about tracking your progress to make sure your strategy is working and ultimately to transform your health. And this leads us to what is maybe the most important question you can ask on this journey. Are you losing the right kind of weight? See, the goal is to lose fat, but losing that precious muscle, a condition known as sarcopenia, can actually harm your strength and your health in the long run. And that's exactly why just watching the number on the bathroom scale just isn't enough. So how do we get smarter data? Well, one incredible tool is a continuous glucose monitor, or a CGM. This little piece of tech gives you real-time feedback on how different foods affect your blood sugar. By seeing what causes a spike, you learn what to avoid so you don't get that big insulin surge that tells your body to store fat, especially visceral fat. It's kind of like having a personalized blueprint for your own body. So let's look at the toolkit, from basic to super precise. Your regular home scale, it only gives you one number, your total weight. A DEXA scan is way better. It breaks down your body composition into fat, muscle, and bone. But if you want the most accurate measurement of that hidden visceral fat, the absolute gold standard is a low-dose CT scan. The main takeaway here is simple. To manage what matters, you have to measure what matters. And look, this disciplined approach gets real, tangible results. This number here comes from an actual patient case study. By combining the lifestyle plan we've just talked about with modern therapy, they achieved a 2 percentage point drop in their visceral fat. That's a huge deal, and it just goes to show that with the right strategy, meaningful change is absolutely possible. So there you have it. You understand the enemy, you know about the modern arsenal, and now you have a detailed battle plan for both diet and movement, plus the tools you need to track your success. The plan is literally in your hands, so the only question left is, are you ready to take command?